Currently there is a news story that is being heavily promoted by mainstream media and YouTube. It is about Tyre Nichols, a 29-year-old Negro, being beaten to death by 5 cops. All Negroes in Memphis, Tennessee. American media is having a field day with this story. This video will present disturbing information that everyone should know about. American media has been aggressively pushing the story that a 29-year-old Negro man was beaten to death by 5 Negro cops while he was driving home from work to his mother's home, which is where he lived at, and that he has a 4-year-old son. However, the major problem with this story is that it is completely fake. You don't need to have any inside knowledge to come to this conclusion. All you need to do is juxtapose mainstream media admissions against public residential records of the names associated with the story. CNN reported that Tyre Nichols is a 29-year-old man who began living in Memphis, Tennessee in the year 2019 and that he lived with his mother because he loves her. However, public records show that there is only one 29-year-old Tyre Nichols in America. Records of his residential history show that he currently lives in California, after having previously left Memphis, Tennessee in early 2021. Well, this is a huge problem because CNN claims he has been continuously living in Memphis, Tennessee with his mother from the year 2019 up until January 10, 2023, the day of his supposed demise, and that he had been working for FedEx the 9 months preceding his death. So, the Tyre Nichols that is mentioned by the mainstream media is a fake character to which they have affixed a fictitious story. As part of the racial propaganda war waged against Negro America by Anglo-America and the full force of its government, FBI, CIA, and media system. The photos of the fake Tyre Nichols are CGI creations, and any video of his so-called beating that they release will likewise be fake. Also, strangely, the photos of the fake Tyre Nichols are lacking in quality and look like they were taken in the 1960s or 70s, even though high-definition photo and video technology is ubiquitous in cell phones, televisions, computers, and cameras. To be clear, high-definition CGI-created videos and photos do exist, but are much harder to produce than low-quality CGI creations. Also, the woman that the mainstream media names as the mother of Tyre Nichols is Rovon Wells. But the major problem with this is that there is only one Rovon Wells in America. And Rovon Wells is a 61-year-old man and he lives in Memphis, Tennessee. None of his relatives have his name. Therefore, the so-called mother of Tyre Nichols is a fake media creation. The persons claiming to be the family of Tyre Nichols, namely his so-called mother and stepfather, who were standing beside the lawyer Benjamin Crump during a press briefing, are just pathetic paid liars who are using aliases. The modern Negro is selfish and puts financial considerations on a higher pedestal than integrity or loyalty. That is one of the reasons God is not inclined to help Negro America overcome racial oppression. Another reason God is not inclined to help Negro America as a whole is because they lack ethics. And this makes them indistinguishable from Anglo-America in terms of their morals. It is also the same reason that God is not inclined to help Native Americans as a whole. The only difference they have from Anglo-Americans is that Anglo-America owns almost all the wealth and riches of America. Anyways, the motives of the fake story are many. Number 1. As part of Anglo-America's racial propaganda war against Negro America, it enjoys projecting its own disorders, bigotry and moral dysfunction upon the Negro. Number 2. There are always racial atrocities being done against Negro America which the media is silent about. However, in order to prevent a racial atrocity story from spreading like wildfire, they will heavily emphasize and disseminate utterly fake disparaging crime stories against Negro America, in order to distract the world from the sick racial truth about America. Number 3. There was recently a scandalous story from Laverne, Tennessee on January 9th, about 26-year-old policewoman Megan Hall, who was basically a police department whore. The story made headlines and embarrassed Tennessee police and Anglo-America, because not only was Megan Hall a police department whore, but she bragged about one of the Negro policemen with whom she had relations with, Lewis Powell. Anytime an Anglo-American woman praises or positively mentions a Negro, it causes deep insecurity and jealousy in the hearts of Anglo-American men. In this situation, it was obvious that Megan Hall enjoyed having relations with the Negro more than she did with the American cops. Thus, the Anglo-American power structure both in Tennessee and federally are desperately trying to bury this scandal, which has been continually receiving non-stop headlines. Therefore, the Anglo-American power structure fabricated a fake story about a Negro being beaten to death by 5 Negro cops in Memphis, Tennessee, and they say that this allegedly occurred on January 10th. Well, January 9th was when police department whore Megan Hall began making headlines. And just like 5 cops were fired for the scandal in Laverne, Tennessee involving Megan Hall's whoredom, 5 fictitious cops in Memphis, Tennessee were also fired in the fake story about Tyre Nichols being beaten to death. Interestingly, in the police whoredom scandal, only Megan Hall and 4 other cops, 3 of whom were Negro and 1 of who was of Spanish origin, were fired. But none of the Anglo-American cops were fired. This shows the deep hypocrisy of Anglo-America. Negro America should begin thinking for itself and stop taking its social cues from American media. Negro America shouldn't jump up and down like mindless puppets to every story pumped out by Anglo-America.